It's the Cricket Weekly podcast with Adam and Nabeel. How are we, Nabeel?
Good, Adam. Another week here, brother. How you doing, man? Exciting
Fabulous.
times, huh?
Oh, what a weekend of cricket. What a weekend of cricket. Just just so good. The weather was perfect. Got to play cricket. Guys, if you didn't catch the little pre-log we have having on TikTok, Nabeel and I played against each other this weekend in what has to be one of the craziest games of cricket. It's the craziest game of cricket I've ever been a part of, for sure. Unreal.
Yeah, man. You want to give the viewers the breakdown of that match? What happened? Because I'm sure a lot of people didn't probably see it on these channels. Yeah. So unless they follow you on TikTok, so follow Adam on TikTok.
Yeah. So guys, we put together New Milford Cricket Club, Danbury Cricket Club, Stanford Super Kings, West Haven Cricket Club. This kind of like, what do you call it? Southwestern Connecticut. Kind of put together a tournament over the last couple of weeks. Bill and I face off, New Milford versus Danbury. And yeah, did we win the toss? Or did you guys send us in? I don't know. But anyway, we batted first. Danbury batted first. And I think a wicket went down in the first over for New Milford. And then maybe a wicket went down in maybe the fourth or fifth or something over like that. And then I come out and I come in at 4. And me and Semithra, the other guy, put on 157 run partnership. Sammy ended up with 151, I believe, and I ended up with 43. And we scored 226 in 2020, which is the biggest score I've ever seen in a T20. I actually looked it up. It's actually the 75th highest score ever, if you include like international games. If you go to like the international cricket info,
75th.
It's like the 75th highest score. Yeah, 317 I think is the highest score, and then like there's a bunch of teams that have scored 226. It's like ranked at 75. But anyway, technically I'd say that's have to be a Connecticut record, if not a USA record, for the highest runs scored in a T20 game. And then it has to be like the highest individual score in a T20 game. And it probably is also the highest partnership in a T20 game. 157 is crazy. Like some teams, we didn't even score 157 last week with all 10 batters.
Yeah.
So
the conditions that day were pretty insane, man.
Oh,
the
guys, the conditions. Yeah, we play on a synthetic concrete with synthetic wicket. The ball was just coming onto the back so quick, and the outfield was super quick. It hasn't rained here for months, and so it was lightning fast. And I was kind of generous with the boundaries, but it wouldn't have mattered. Even if I had the boundaries back an extra 10 steps, it would not have mattered at all, because to the lateral boundary, the square boundary, can only go that far because of the football stadium, the football pitch. And then the front boundary, back and forth boundaries could be technically a little bit longer, but it still wouldn't have mattered. Those balls were all well over the fence, the sixes, and the fours were just straight past the fielders. So yeah, 226. I was robbed of the 50. We have to talk about this. Absolutely robbed of the 50. I wasn't tracking my score, and I honestly didn't think I was even close to 50. But in the last over, Nabeel was keeping at the time. I hit 2 not reverse scoops, but basically lap scoops in the last over. And then I was given a no ball. I bowled a beamer, and I literally like swore out loud and hit the ball and managed to hit it, let it roll for 4. And I stumble over, and I get up, and Nabeel's like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't a no ball." I'm like, "What do you mean? What reality is that not a no ball?" I go to the umpire. "Is that a no ball?" He's like, "Nah." I'm like, "How? It was a beamer."
No, I said the umpire didn't give it a no ball. It was an easy no ball, and
no ball every day.
Oh, dude, it was nuts. It was on your head.
But I don't know if you heard this. So, and then I don't get the free hit. We don't get the extra run. Yeah. And then I end up swinging and missing on the second last ball, and then the last ball I hit it straight to cover. Beautiful shot, straight to cover. And then we get off the field, and I kid you not, you're not going to believe this. The umpire said, he goes, "You guys had scored enough runs. You didn't need the no ball." Well, we did because we lost. And I was robbed of a 50. I could have had an extra free hit.
Yeah.
So we basically honestly thought that we were invincible. We thought there's no way we're going to lose, posting 226. One of our guys left. He's like, I'm going to go. We're going to win. Don't worry about it. No. The Milford came out and just put on a clinic. 2 91s were scored, and the runs were run down in 18.3 overs. Like, I think you only lost 2 wickets. I think that was correct.
We did.
Yeah, it was just unbelievable batting. Just 6 after 6.
I think we chased it with 9 balls to spare too, right?
Yeah, it was 18.3 overs. Yeah. There was still plenty of time. And that's what I was saying.
I remember when I walked into the situation, right? The team needed 60 runs of 5 overs. So that was the situation
60 off 30,
Yeah, that was the situation I came into bat, and Karan was already set. I was not worried about it. I think Adil Bhai, one of the guys from your team, he was like, man, mutton biryani on me if you just kind of give the wicket here, man. I'm like, dude, you don't got to worry about me. Worry about Karan, dude. The guy's been batting for almost 15 overs. He goes off here, the game's over.
Oh yeah,
and so we know in the last couple of overs he just kind of took the game away.
For sure.
16 to the 18th over, I think, was just annihilation.
Yeah, I mean, it's like to let the viewers know, like, the ground is so hard, and the grass, it's the really thick crabgrass, and as soon as the ball would bounce, it was basically Russian roulette which direction it would bounce. Like, you could have a ball coming straight for you, and then it would take a hard turn to the left or a hard turn to the right. Nothing ever went straight onto you. Like, even when we played earlier in the day, I missed a couple of balls that were hit really hard to me. You're running in, one hops in front of you. You're like, sweet, easy take. Nope, zoop, sideways, 4. I'm like, how is that? And then in that last, like, maybe that 17th or 18th over, like, there was 17th. I think there was a bunch of just 4s that didn't need to be 4s. They just were hit to the boundary, and they just took hops that went sideways past the fielders. 4 runs. They could have easily been 1s or 2s. And then, but even when I came off the field for my innings, the first innings, I was like, there was at least, even though we scored 226, there was at least 2 dots every over. Yeah. And I was like, we could have scored more.
Yeah.
So now it's 240 is like a pass score there now. Like,
you just gotta look at the conditions, man. Sometimes the field doesn't play like that. That day it was. I mean, it's a cement wicket, right? It's concrete with the synthetic wickets. Yeah. So the wicket's gonna stay the same, but the surrounding conditions, the field being rock hard. I mean, that day was just insane, man. It was moving around everywhere. So it was a great day for cricket. At the end of the season going on over here in the Northeast. And tonight, Adam, we got USA Cricket's sweep against Nepal. They got swept by Nepal in that 3 T20 international series. Rough. So what do you make, Adam, of USA men's team, and like, what does this mean for the confidence, moving forward for the team, essentially? Because I know getting swept after being on such a high in cricket world, League Two, and bringing their A players back, because they were trying a lot of their bench strength in the Cricket World Cup League Two, and it appears they backed their first choice players in this Nepal series, and it didn't come off for them. So what do you suggest kind of happened there?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One thing we can touch on is the opening partnership, the opening pairing. So if you look at McLemore is new into the side. He had played earlier before the World Cup. He had been playing very well over in UAE. He had been batting number 1 or number 2. Goose House, however you want to call it. Technically, I think it should be opening. I think that should be the opening partnership. But Patel came in at number 1 with McLemore, and Patel basically took 3 ducks. And he didn't get 3 ducks, but I mean, he got clean bowled, past the outside edge 2 games in a row. The first 2 games, literally with the same ball he got out to, they were just balls that he completely missed and took off stump both times. And I I can't remember exactly how we got out in the third game, but yeah, I mean, from also now playing the T20s, it's like there needs to be a different strategy, I think, around T20 games. Like, it's just different than batting a one-day international, different than batting a test match. Obviously, USA aren't playing tests, but I don't quite understand why Gauss isn't opening. And if you look at Patel, I did some stats on Patel during the World Cup, and when he bats at 4, that's when he scores his most runs. He has his most runs batting at number 4. So I'm not sure the advantage that they're trying to play, putting him at number 1, when Gauss is like, he's been performing very well at 1, 2, or 3. And he scored like 60 in the second game. He scored 30 just there. This could be game 1 potentially. Oh yeah, in game 1, yeah, that 30 there kind of should have an asterisk next to it because he smashed this huge 6, and then it took them a couple of minutes, like 3, 4, 5 minutes to find the ball or get a new ball, and then the first ball back from play, he just scooped it straight to point or back with a point there. So that was kind of like oh man, he was kind of doing really well, and the kind of the play kind of ruffled his feathers a little bit there. But yeah, I think Jones, ran himself out in the first game. He got bogged down with a couple of dot balls, tried to take a run. He was sent back, got run out at the striker's end, which is a very rare thing to see. You don't see a striker call a run and then have to run back to his own crease to get run out. That's kind of rare. So he runs himself out. And then, yeah, not who's, I'm trying to think of the name, not Patel, I'm through Patel. Who's the guy that came in? Kumar. He did okay. It wasn't like, extravagant or whatever, but, yeah, Hangdri, I can't say his name probably, but,
Shayan Jahangir, yeah.
Jahangir, yes. He batted very well, that 60 in the first game. Just unlucky at the end not to just have enough legs in the tank towards the end to kind of to win the game. He kind of ran out of partners towards the end there. We just couldn't get things moving. It was kind of a slowish start. If we had a faster start, it would have been better. So like my strategy around this, and this has really helped me playing the T20, is that you really need someone to go out for the first 6 overs and just score 30 runs. Like, you need to have someone at top of the order that can go bang, 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 score a few quick runs, even if it's 20 or 30 runs off like 2 or 3 overs, just to get the ball rolling, because you want to make use of the fielders being in, and think about that 20 or 30 runs that could have been scored, would traditionally be scored at the end of the game, score them at the start of the game. That's kind of like my strategy there, and that they weren't able to really put enough runs on the board during the power play to drag them through the innings. And then by the time it got to the last couple of overs, well, you've got your 7th batter and your 8, 9, 10, 11 batter batting, which I don't think is a good strategy.
Yeah, no, I think it's I think it's a lot of things, a lot of little things, because I think what USA cricket need to focus on, right, is obviously play the matchups when it comes to, T20 cricket. You got to know the size of the field, first of all. You got to know what, kind of advantage would a lefty batsman have or a righty batsman have to target particular bowlers, and on the shorter side of the grounds as well, because I think that was a lack of, there was a lack of, thought process essentially in that second game, as well, where the match was tied and we went into the super over, and we sent out 3 righty batters, and to target the bigger side of the ground instead of at least having one lefty in there that could target the smaller side of the ground. So there's, I think, a few matchup changes that we need to figure out, as well as the openers you mentioned. I think it's something that we do need at the top of the order. Gauss has been in form, and Monang Patel does well at 3 or 4. So might as well, have him play at 3 and try out that combination with Sai. Sai has been amazing. Again, in that second game and the third game, this game he wasn't able to perform, but another thing that I think we can look at is the bowling lineup. Though this is our best bowling lineup, probably, but in T20 cricket, you always need that 6th option, the 7th option in your team. Steven Taylor provides you that option. and provides, aggression at the top of the order. So I think that's a guy that needs to be in this lineup as well. Steven Taylor potentially bringing back in the lineup, as well as in the middle order. I believe Gajanan Singh is another guy who's done really well in USA cricket. Super great, or probably our best middle order player in the country. So I think that's another guy that we got to get in this lineup. So those two guys, if we get in there, the team again starts to solidify itself. It adds another bowling option, solidifies the middle order, and then if we make that switch with Gauss opening and Monang dropping down at 3, then I think it makes sense. You can look at the bowling lineup of Nepal. They use 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 7 options. Compared to just the 5 options for us. And though they bowled well, but I think just having another option adds to just the stoppages of their runs, depending on the conditions too. But I think this first game, they could have stopped these guys maybe at 150. But if they had another option. The ball.
Yeah, I mean, it is good to definitely have another option. Like, technically, looking at the lineup, it's, you got Ali Khan bowling fast-ish, and then you got Netravolkar bowling nice shape, Singh bowling, pretty good, and then the 2 spinners. But technically, Aaron Jones can bowl some leggies, just like part-time, just like Taylor does. I don't.
Taylor's a genuine off spinner, man. I think he's really good. Taylor can give you a quota of all 4 overs if you ask him to. He just doesn't bowl the full quota. He does at times, but depending on obviously the options available and the matchups, I'm sure Noshdus Kanjige is a left arm spinner. Sometimes when the matchup situation happens, Taylor may bowl 4, or maybe Kanjige may bowl a couple, or Harmeet Singh you have as well. If he's not having a good day, he can go for runs at times too.
Yeah.
So you just gotta mix and match and just have
I'd like to see what we have for full-time leg spinners. I mean, I would like a leg spinner. Like, obviously,
I think Yasir Muhammad is in the squad.
Okay.
And yeah, because you would want
the thing that we miss is you miss a Rashid Khan or a Zamper, like a quick spinner that can really just shut the batter down. I think that's because the off spin is great. Like, they had some really good attacking the stumps.
I think there definitely are a couple in the country.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure who is that person, but I think that's what you would probably want. I think, someone the USA team needs to be nurturing or growing someone that can really be a power hitter, like a big enforcer, and then like a Travis Head that can or a Smith that can just go out and go bang bang bang, score some runs, and really turn the game, and a leg spinner. That's probably what we need, because we got everything else is good. But you'd want it. The thing we've struggled to do is take all the wickets. That's something we've struggled to do, is take 10 wickets, because you want to try to take 10 wickets.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think we got to give shout out to the Nepal all-rounder Dipendra Singh Airy. He's
Dynamite
Singh. He's the second ranked all-rounder in the world, and I didn't know that. So he's ranked up there in world cricket, one of the best all-rounders. So definitely remember this name. As Ian Bishop said it. Called it on the Carlos Brathwaite sixes. But this guy is going to be some player, man.
No, he was like I said, the first time seeing him, but he definitely was a power player. He scored runs with the bat. He was quick in the field, and he took 3 wickets. He broke the partnership. Yeah. And this is the game. They're moving on to game 2 here. Match. Yeah, game 2. They put on 170, so a little bit more than the first game. But USA were cruising. USA was pretty much cruising. They got, I just made that post of the video today. They only needed 7 runs from the last over. And I broke down that you have to have a different mindset, and you have to have a cricket IQ, because as soon as they took the second run on the 5th ball, it was it. You locked it up. That was it. You scored the 2. You just need literally to hit bat on ball and run. And they needed 3 from 3. And then Gauss decided to just clear the fence and got caught out in the long boundary. It was an 82-yard boundary out there. And that ends up being the turning point. he didn't need to hit that shot. He could have just literally hit that ball along the carpet, ran a single, got to the other end, or they could have ran two. This is the other thing. This other thing about running twos is that technically now in this T20 format, with the way they set up the field, is that you literally have to learn to hit the ball half-hearted. You have to literally learn to hit the ball, because you can punch the ball all the way to the boundary. That would be 4, and the fielder is going to cut that now off. You're going to get a single, or you can hit it just past the inner fielder and be able to run 2, because the deep fielder has to run in.
Yeah,
like that's another strategy, because like you saw seeing at the end there, he goes and pulls a beautiful cut shot for the very, very last ball, but they need 2 to win, so he cuts it as hard as he can straight to the man, and they don't have time to run back for the second. You were better off literally just like bobbling it in the air and getting it 40 feet from the stumps in the gap, and then running hard too. That was a better option than playing a beautiful pull shot. So, and that's something that like I've been looking at, and even since in our game on the weekend, I was like, I need to score runs. I don't have the energy to punch the ball down the ground. I don't feel that I can get the ball over the fence for 6, and there's no one at fine leg. So I'm going to step 2 feet across to the off stump, and I'm going to let it ramp to fine leg. Like, that's the kind of cricket IQ you got to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And I'm not saying like I have the world's highest cricket IQ, but like that was a simple thing where like the situation was needed to score runs. We're batting first. If I hit the ball down the ground, I'm going to get maybe 2 unless I really pure it in the gap. So hit it behind square.
Yeah, I think they just made the mess of it. You know, they needed 15 off of, I believe 12, right? The last 2 overs. And it's it's a cake and walk, you know, but it's just holding the nerves under pressure, which is again does the players and you know, cricketers that have been playing for a while, is just that ability to handle pressure and, you know, holding your nerve in a crunch situation, and, you know, not really being bothered by any of the occasion, right in your mind. That's essentially how you get through these types of close games and matches, because obviously 15 runs from 12 balls, you know, with a few wickets in hand, they could have just, you know, tried really hard in that 19th over to maybe score, you know, 12 runs in that over, instead of, you know, maybe leaving a couple 2-3 runs in the last over, you know. But it's just, again, IQ, you know, and being able to obviously use it in that pressure situation, essentially, right? So that's a key factor. And, you know, if you look at the scorecard here, 92 by, you know, Kushal Bhartel, who's the man of the match in this game. Took 2 catches as well off of 54 deliveries, 170 strike rate, 7 sixes, 7 fours, and not out. You know, he missed out on 100 here. So some knock by this guy here, man, and they put up 170. But again, this you know, match would have been you know, ours if we held their nerves. And it appears they used an additional option here in Milan Kumar, who went for 16 in that over, so it didn't pan out with the other option that they used, you know, in this game. So maybe a decision there, you know, this one decision costed them. Who knows? You know, you can't really.
If you look at Kenjige, he has 2 for 7. Kenjige has 2 for 7.
Yeah,
you think
in
he'd
3
roll
overs.
him out, right?
Yeah.
That's that kind
so
of
this
saves,
one decision where
save you 10 runs, basically.
At least save 6 runs. Yeah, 6 or 10 runs. Even if he gave 10 runs in that over, it would have been 4 overs, 31 for 2. You know, this guy gave 16, so it's maybe that decision didn't pan out for USA Cricket. And again,
then maybe just something for the viewers that don't, the new viewers that don't kind of get that these decisions are made by the on-field captain. These decisions aren't like Major League Baseball where the coach is calling into the box, be like, "Hey, bring in the other pitcher." Like, this is on the field decision. That's timed. It's all timed. You got to make sure you get those overs in. They're timing you. So, but again, Gas, another good batting performance from him. He gets 62. McLemara gets a start here. You know, Patel again out early. Jones again out early. Then the middle just didn't hold towards the end there. So.
Yeah, I think this is where our problem is, man. Our problem is here. You know, even Aaron Jones has been out of form. Milan Kumar has had a few good games in that Cricket World League too, but I don't know if his T20, you know, if he fits into this T20 lineup. I think instead of Milan Kumar, you know, we got to have the guy that I brought up earlier.
Taylor,
I forgot his name. Singh. Taylor and Singh. Yeah. Gajanan Singh and Steven Taylor. And I think those two guys, make this lineup stronger. And let us know what you guys think in the comments. Should Gajanan Singh come in for a guy like Milind Kumar, or even Shan Jahangir, who's had a lean run in form. He's had one good, a couple good knocks in the middle there. And even last week, though, we had called him to be my impact player of this series, and he had that first great game. And then in this match, started off well, but didn't carry through. And then in the super over, obviously, then wasn't able to carry through there as well. So maybe give Jahangir a break as well, and Kumar, and try get Gajanan Singh and a Taylor in there, because I think that will strengthen the lineup. And even a guy like Jones, I think is not
there's
really locked in.
I think there's almost, like, I think personally, if I was to be a T20 coach, there's almost a factor of putting in one of the tail enders as the opener. Like, because technically, if you get into your last 5 overs without one of your top 7 batters, then you're screwed. And if one of your top 7 gets out early, then they're in the house. Like, imagine if Patel gets out for less than 10, 3 games in a row, it would have been beneficial to have one of the Singhs like Jasdeep or Hamid go in, just swing at the ball that fields in close, get a couple of edges, fly for 4, maybe get a 15 or 20 or something, and then have Patel come in at 7 or 8, you know what I mean, to like finish out the last 5 overs. Like, there's some strategy that has to be thought of about that, because I don't see the point of having the team go into the last 5 overs with their like worst 3 batters. Like, I don't think that makes sense. I don't see other teams doing that, but I think that would be a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, with all the data analysis tools we have and everything, you have data on players, you have film, you have video, what's going to work if you just sit down and do the work and figure out, hey, what's our best options in what situations, right? Because the more we have that on paper, as coaching and as, the captain of the team, that, hey, on paper, these are my matchups when it comes to these particular scenarios. These are my specialists in power play. These are my specialist bowlers in power play. These are my lefty batters. If a leg spinner comes on, these are my righty batters. If an off spinner's bowling. So there's a lot of matchup based things that you gotta have in your thought process, or in your books, essentially, to know that, hey, this is my playbook, and I can use this playbook as a matchup based game. What happens in NFL? What happens in NBA? What happens in baseball? They have playbooks, right? They have their playbooks based on matchups. If there's a certain pitcher comes in and they have a guy sitting on bench who has a good record against that pitcher, they're going to pinch hit him in. They're going to get that guy to go switch with whoever was in that lineup that day, right? So it's all matchup driven. They know who's going to do well against who. Right. So we need to take that approach. I think, it needs to be a lot more analysis done. We need a lot more data to actually nail down our matchups, against whoever we're playing. And we do our homework, and, we'll win these types of series, I think. So I think it may have been a little bit of a lack of, effort as well, because I know a lot of the players were coming from, traveling other CPL and all these other, Cricket World League 2, and then they played the Atlanta Open and now the Nepal series. So it hasn't been a lot of break for the players, right? They're just burnt out as well.
They've been playing straight from the World Cup. They haven't had a break since the World Cup. So
and there's news that they haven't been getting paid on time either. So I'm not sure how true that is. Don't count me on that. So it depends on motivation too, because I saw a post today on Facebook, by one of the community members. And, they brought up that, we need to pay our players, and they should be our priority. We should be paying our players to make sure that, they're motivated to bring in the results at the top level. So there's a lot of some of that stuff too that they got to figure out and make sure that the players are motivated to go out there and perform.
Yeah. If you think about the motivation, like when you watch the footage like of the stadium was 95% Nepalese. Is that how you say it? Nepalese.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Nepalese. Like, literally, when in my mind, when I saw this was happening, I'm like, oh, sweet. People are going to turn out for Team USA down in Grand Prairie, 'cause that's where the home of cricket is here. No, you could literally see. I saw 2 or 3 USA guys with USA flags in the audience, and the rest of it was all Nepalese. And imagine, this is the thing, like imagine representing your country and you're playing at home against a visiting nation, and none of your supporters, none of your home countrymen show up to cheer you on. Like, just imagine that. Like, it looked terrible. It was a terrible look.
Yeah,
There was
it's
no USA fans cheering on Team USA. And so that's concerning.
Yeah. Yeah, and I brought this up last week too, that, you know, the series was going to be packed with Nepali fans, you know, and we saw that in the World Cup. You know, they had filled that stadium. The best support that any team got in that World Cup was Nepal, because of, especially in USA, especially just the kind of sheer volume of people that travel from overseas, and the community, the tight-knit Nepalese community that they have here. You know, shout out to them, because you know, they have a very strong support system backing their team. So their team is always, you know, playing for their fans as well, and you can see that in their performances as well. You know, and even this third match, you know, we had a different star, Nasif Sheikh. Player of the series was Sompal Kami, their bowler. And yeah, in this match again, Sai scored 68. Millen scored 43, but again, we're stuck in that 156, 140. We scored 170 in that second game, but again, didn't close the game out. Here, as we can see again, Nepal used, you know, almost 8 options.
A lot of bowls,
ball. Yeah, and I think this is what T20 cricket it should be like. It's literally try, you know, a couple of different variations. You have to, and not let the batsman get settled, because if a batsman lines you up and you don't have more than 1 or 2 variations, and the captain gives you another over, they can line you up, you know, if you're not consistent with your line and land.
Yeah, changing the bowler is crucial. Changing the bowler is crucial, because like I felt that just like playing the couple of games that I've played, like knowing that the next bowler coming on is the same bowler I just faced. I'm like, sweet, I just saw a couple of balls from you. I know where you're going to bowl. And in the game, that first game that I played, the game that I got out, was I got out to the second ball of the new bowler coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
exactly, they always bring a change, man. Change is bringing wickets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, and these guys chased it down fairly easily. 157. You know, 50 by
we didn't take wickets. There's no wickets taken.
Yeah, 40 by Koshal Bartel and 44.
And so something that I noticed,
so Netravolker, 5 options again.
Yeah, so we brought Drysdale in for this last game. But what I noticed from Netravolker is he wasn't moving the ball. The ball wasn't zipping away. It wasn't moving off the deck. It wasn't even shaping back in. Like to be that opening bowler from his left armor, he needs to be able to bring that ball outside of stump back into the stumps for that full Yorker, like the Stark style of delivery. He needs to be able to bring that ball back onto the stumps, and needs to have the ball that decks away to the slips, like the way that he got out. The way that he got out Kohli in the World Cup, the ball that just holds up, goes away. I didn't see any of that. I saw balls that were too straight, and I saw balls that weren't moving. So
yeah,
and then even with Ali Khan, it wasn't a whole lot. I guess he must have not played the last game. Ali Khan must have got switched out for Drysdale. Is that how that looks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see too much from him. He got very lucky with an LBW, but again, it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I think after they lost 2 matches, right? So it's like the mindset thing, right? Like where you have maybe 2 or 3 guys sitting on the bench, right? We've lost the series. Might as well give the guys that are sitting on the bench a shot, because, you know, maybe you see something out of those guys, right? Because I know Yasser Muhammad's in the squad, couple other guys that haven't gone games in a few series. And if the series is lost, you know, why didn't we make a few other changes? Maybe we could have, benched Kenjige for this match, brought in Muhammad, and maybe Harmeet Singh could have taken a break and try another guy. So I think there needs to be a rotation policy as well, depending on the situations and game scenarios. It shouldn't just be like, hey, this is our best 11 and we're just going to play this every time. I think the approach needs to obviously be more calculative, and knowing the strategy and the plan and the approach depending on the potential team and what they have, and just collecting a bunch of data and analyzing it and making the decisions based off of that, how Australia does it, kind of, right? So like I think we need a more concise approach, instead of, I mean, we've done well in identifying the players that we have, right? That these are some of our best players, sure, but now we need to increase that pool, because we can't get results consistently out of that same 10, 11 players. It needs to have more support base, stronger base players that are coming in and performing right from the get-go. So I think we need more players, and the more chances we give to younger guys like Sai, Sai sat on the bench for the last 3-4 series and now has been just consistently scoring runs, right? So I think kids like him who have proven that they have the skill and ability to play at that level should be given chances. And there's a lot of talent like him, man. In the area, in the Northeast region, all over USA. So I think that should be the focus in getting those type of players, to come up to the top.
Yeah, I think they made a good step with the the USAA side. I think they're actually playing tonight, potentially. Or they're playing today.
Yeah, they did. They won.
Oh, there you go.
They bowled, yeah, they bowled Nepal out for like 80 something, I think.
Not the A side bowled them out.
Yeah.
The A side bowled out the legit Nepal team.
They did.
There you go. This is what we're talking. Isn't that what we just said?
That's exactly what I said.
We need more players to rotate in to give opportunities to. So if you guys didn't hear last week, we had been mentioning for weeks. I'd been mentioning that the Australia does Australia A. So basically, like the second best side, they make a second best side so they can verse the best side, and then they have the second best side versing the touring nations. And it looks like USAA got a win against Nepal. This is in an ODI. This is in the 50 over game. And tomorrow they play Scotland, and then the regular USA team will go on and play Scotland in a couple of ODIs. So, the talent seems to be there. We just got to find the connection of wickets.
It's there, man. The talent's there. We just need to find a more balanced approach and a strategic approach to get that rotation policy in and make sure that, we give exposure to as many players as we can, because that should be the end goal and the vision, is to have a pool that's big enough for us to pick and choose from. And then we can sit down and make the team based on the needs of the cricket, right? Needs for USA cricket. This is what we need because we're playing Australia. Now let's prepare it in this manner, because we're playing X team. So we just need a bigger pool of talent, bigger pool of players. So I think that's, getting exposure to these younger guys, that are on the bench is a great way. And then the A team, obviously, get guys in there that are, haven't gotten a chance, from Northeast or from Midwest or there's a lot of players, man, young players born and raised here in America that are way better than some of the guys that are playing on that team right now. So, definitely want to make sure that we give highlight to those guys. And, we're going to start to do a small segment, I think, each week to call out these youth players, right? So, last week we played a match and, there was 2 or 3 players that did really well. Very talented, highly skilled players. So, Karan was one of them, who's the captain of New Milford Cricket Club. Kid's born and raised here and is an amazing player, amazing opening bat. Should definitely get a run in the USA cricket. There's a couple other youngsters we saw from the under division that were there, under 19, under 23s. I forget some of their names, but, so much talent, man, is here. And I don't know how these guys don't, get to see that limelight or get to see that next step, because that talent's there. And, kids like Sai are around. We just need to make sure that they get those opportunities and the exposure, and you'll see similar results, guaranteed, man.
Yeah, I think, no, if that's working on it, I mean, it's hard with there's no steps really there to go from club level to grade level to state level to national level. Like it's not set up the same. Yeah. So, but I think these kids have to just try to get into these minor league teams and try to make names for themselves through there. But moving on to the ladies.
Moving on to the ladies. So the USA, they're playing USA Women. They were playing Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's taking a 2-0 lead. This is from a couple days ago, the USA media release. I believe there was a third match as well that we can pull up. Let me see. Because women's,
it's probably on the Cricket Info.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that they had a new captain coming in for the women's team, and obviously this is outside of the World Cup. The World Cup just finished. New Zealand took the trophy in the World Cup, which is a shock to everybody. We were thinking it was going to be an India-Australia final, but no, India got knocked out. Australia got knocked out, and it was South Africa and New Zealand in the final. And this is, USA versus Zimbabwe. Put on this is an ODI, so we put on 248, which isn't the worst score in the world.
This is the second ODI. Yeah, no, they did good, man. USA women's batted first, and the ex-captain Sindhu Sriharsha scored a 69, 39 by Disha Dhingra, 41 by the new captain Aditya Chudasma, and then 20 from Ishani, 28 from Tara Norris. So some good contributions, man. 248 is not a bad score.
Yeah, but it's kind of these ODIs. You got to kind of take your wickets, take your chances. I don't know how many chances were put down or what's going on, but it looks like from that batting lineup, they kind of had a solid. Everyone kind of had a start and did kind of well there.
Yeah, and the captain again here, the bowling department, took 3 wickets. Aditi Chudasama, so the new captain, scored a 41, took 3 wickets. Leading from the front, at least doing her thing, and and the other one to take a wicket was Geetika Kodali. So it seems like taking wickets is probably a bottleneck for USA women's team here, because 250 for 4, it seems like these guys kind of just chased it down without much fuss. 77 by their wicket keeper, Zimbabwe Women's. I don't want to pronounce that name because Modester. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not gonna
doing 5 runs and over, 6 runs and over. I mean, if you're not taking wickets, it's run a ball cricket. It's not that complicated,
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it seems like our bowling options are lacking a little bit. Ritu Singh bowled 6 overs, 42. 10 overs, 64. Ishani Vagila, even 46. From Tara Norris. It seems they were. The bowling needs to improve, so we need to find some bowling options here. And the batting, it seems like they put the runs on the board, so it's not a big margin. Just needed a couple other wickets in the middle here to maybe build, put some pressure on Zimbabwe, and they could have had this game. So the second ODIs, was in their grasp. Definitely could have won this. So I love that they fought the way through. This match was close, and our team's improving. So I think it's we give these guys a good run in the next year or two, and we'll see a lot more improved performances from the USA women's team. So
their goal for them was to try to qualify for the next Women's World Cup. They're going to be on the short list to try to make it there. So they've got 2 years to kind of figure it out. So hopefully they can get on. Hopefully they can get it together for that.
Yeah, exactly, man. And I'm trying to find the first scorecard, and there may have even been a second or third match that happened today. So, not sure if. Let's see the previous result here. I think this is where I got to go for the first one. So the first ODI was here. We were bowled out for 152, and they chased it down in 34.3 overs. Again, the batting kind of collapsed in this one. Not much of substance, 37 by Nika Kolan, 23 by Disha, 31 by Tara, and the rest kind of, falling apart. And then same thing with the ball. We did take some wickets here, but looks like a fairly simple chase for Zimbabwe women. So it seems like we need, just more work, and obviously more girls getting involved in USA cricket, right? Because I think the biggest challenge is really increasing the talent pool of the women's game as well, and increasing those numbers.
Zimbabwe, look at that number right there. They're like 5 in a row right there. Sorry to cut you off. I was looking at the stats there. Look at that. Look at Zimbabwe Women there. Look at them they're on a tear. Look at that. They've won 5 straight games, Zimbabwe.
Yeah, they've won the last 5 and we've lost our last 5, I think, or our last 4 at least.
4, yeah.
As it's showing here. So yeah, I think we just need to increase the talent pool. So with this, I think there's ways to obviously introduce cricket to women's, right? Like there's big like softball organizations as well, where there's thousands of girls, that get interested in playing softball. So maybe we need to kind of work with that type of a process where we can introduce cricket to the same players that are already playing bat and ball sports, because it's a key challenge that right now we're not doing any of this initiatives to grow the game, where we can introduce it to the softball players and the basketball players and any sport that uses bat and ball, essentially, right? In women's game, we should find ways to really get these events out there and introduce it to people at that level, because more players will come through if they know about it, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel it's a tough ask, especially here in the States with so many options for girls going to college. They can play water polo, they can play netball, not netball, that's what we call it in Australia. Called volleyball, the volleyball, lacrosse. There's so many options for them to go down avenues that I don't think someone's just rocking up and going, "Oh, I'm going to go play cricket today and learn cricket." Like, it's kind of far-fetched at this point with so many options being involved, because like I said, considering switching to the other nations, we don't have those other sports as like the forefronted like sports. We don't have the softballs, we don't have the volleyballs, we don't have the lacrosse. Like, it's just cricket is the option. So when cricket's like your 10th option and you don't really even know how to play it, it's kind of a hard ask. So yeah, that's probably the big bottleneck here in the States. Just there's so many other options and it's not a priority.
Absolutely. That's why you got to get it down to that basic level, man, where young girls are getting into that bat and ball sports, like it starts at the basic level. And if there's some type of crossover, with softball and cricket, you're automatically going to introduce it to thousands of girls, man, automatically. It just needs to have some type of a connection. We just got to bridge the gap, right? Either do a couple of events or find out. I believe in one of our podcast episode, one of the fans or viewers had literally noted down like, hey, this is where the softball girls thing happens. You can actually do an event there to introduce it to thousands of softball players, young players, that even if you get some interest there, you never know how many girls can be playing in the future. So it's just consistently kind of having those types of things, to introduce cricket to the newer audiences. So the vision needs to obviously have that approach as well. Which is again a problem. So the numbers need to grow, and we talk about that NCAA status all the time, right? Where we need to get females involved into cricket. If we don't, then we can essentially, will not get that NCAA status, because we have to have the same number of representation on the female side of the sport as well as the male side of the sport. So the approach, I think we got to figure out, where that balance is for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have
we'll get there one day.
One day. Yeah. So we have a question up on the screen. What is the biggest area of concern for USA women's cricket team? Bowling, batting, fielding, or team strategy? Drop your answer into the comments. And I think tonight we just had, the USA cricket updates to discuss with you guys. We've gone over the USA getting swept by Nepal and the 2 losses that USA women have faced against Zimbabwe. I think we're going to open up, for questions or anything you guys have you guys want to discuss with us. So drop your questions into the comments, and we'll be just hanging around for a little bit to chill with you guys and answer a few questions, and then we'll call it a night for tonight. Adam, you got anything else?
No, I'm just excited to be back playing cricket. It was just great to be back. I haven't played cricket in technically full time for 10 years. And it's just been great to be able to like get out there and play. And it was a trip. Like I wish there was a reality where I didn't stop playing cricket,
Yeah.
But this T20, it was it's so different. Like it's hard to explain to people. Like when people think of cricket that I guess getting involved, like, oh yeah, T20, that's how you play. But how you play in T20 is not how you play in ODIs or in the test matches. It's like they're almost like two different sports.
No,
And
really.
there's the way you hit, and because that isn't really duplicated in baseball. It isn't like in baseball as a reality where you hit differently or you hit it in a different area because it's the type of game you're playing. I don't know that there's a other game out there that has shortened versions, maybe rugby and rugby sevens, but even still, it's not really a bat and ball sport. So it's because it's just different. Trying to explain to someone that plays baseball, oh, instead of hitting it straight, you can just hit it behind you because there's no fielder there. And even when you're batting, it's like you're trained to hit the ball a certain way. And in the moment, you're like, well, it's not about how I hit the ball, it's how I score a run. I need to score 4 runs here. How's the best way to score 4 runs? Is it to hit the ball on its merit? No, because there's 2 fielders there. There's a guy in the deep. I'm going to have to hit it over his head. Or if I hit it on its merit, I'm going to maybe get 2. So hit the ball somewhere else.
I think the biggest stat that counts, right, in T20 cricket is the amount of dot balls the batsman actually plays.
Dot balls, yeah.
I mean, you could score a 40 off a 20, but you've scored that 40 runs off of 10 balls, and if you've played 10 dot deliveries, it's still a nick against you because you can still lose the game by scoring that 20 off of 40 and still having 10 dot balls in there.
Yeah,
so
it's the dot balls totally. And now I've seen that so clearly.
Impact, man.
I've seen that so clearly now. I can't unsee it. It's like the dot balls are huge. Dot balls are massive. And again, it's like even how I'm thinking about my stance. Like I mentioned, and like you were there, I hit 3 beautiful cut shots straight to the man up point. And why is that? Well, that's because my feet are square. And if my feet are square, I'm going to hit that shot perfectly square. So what are my options? My other options are I have to hit it behind square, open the blade, which I actually did at one point. I did deliberately, off that young guy, I deliberately opened the face and try to get the edge, and I did catch the edge. But then I'm thinking, well, okay, if my shot, my favorite shot is the cut shot. That's my best shot. Well, why don't I set my feet at 45 degrees, put 1 foot on leg stump, put 1 foot on middle stump, kind of like square myself 45. Yep. So when I play my cut, I'm now playing my cut through the covers where no one was fielding. So it could put it in front of point. And then now I'm scoring a few more runs because I'm not hitting those balls straight to point. And it's like thinking about things like that. It's like, I got to teach these kids how to do this because that's the psychology now behind this T20 stuff is you got to get that good shot in the gap. And if you're struggling to score runs, you have to figure out an innovative way to score the run. And it's not a bad thing to literally hold your bat out and scoop a ball off middle stump, which I did, which I was super proud of. Yeah. But I'm like, you don't have to hit the ball in front of you. No one is fielding behind the keeper. Like it's legit strategy to hit.
You have to know your options when you turn the strike over, man. Like if you can't score, if you can't find a way to get the boundary, you turn it over and you bring the other guy on, man.
Well, that's the thing that we did. Like I literally turned the strike over to let him score 150 runs because I wasn't able to do that. I just didn't feel like I could
once
hit.
we got going. Once you got settled in, you were smacking him, right? So it's just the number you were batting on, right? You were batting on 4. The guy was already opening. So it's a different situation completely.
Yeah.
For you to come in and support the guy that's set.
Yeah. I mean, he had only scored like 30 or 40, 30 or so runs when I got in.
And even in that 224, when I looked at the bowling card, I mean, nobody went like I think less than 10 in our bowling lineup, right? I mean, I bowled 2 overs for 15 and still got smacked by 4 by you and a 4 by the other guy who reverse swept me or over square leg.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Point. Reverse swept.
Yeah.
He was lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man.
That was a good shot right there.
It was a crazy. I didn't expect it. It was a good ball. It was a good ball. The dude just turned around and poop right over point, reverse sweep. I'm like, oh, dude. And he was just touching everything and it was flying over the fence, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all we have for tonight. And
that's it.
Yeah, if anything else, drop your questions into the comments. Make sure to check out the Reverse Scoop shop and the link in the description, as well as if you want to create content like this. I've dropped a link for you guys to sign up for StreamYard, so check that link out as well. And yeah, until next time, Adam Bannon and Nabeel Khan from the Reverse Scoop calling it a night. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.